Recently, I sailed 260 nautical miles from Puerto Rico all the way into Luperon, Dominican Republic, a beloved sailors and cruisers haven thanks to its large, well-protected harbor, active live-aboard community, and a beautiful surrounding countryside filled with welcoming locals. But I'm on a mission to sail back to the Bahamas for a 100-day non-stop off-grid adventure challenge. So I'm excited to get back to that remote ocean island lifestyle that I truly love. But each day I spend here in Luperon, I discover more and more adventures calling my name, where my frugal lifestyle affords me budget luxuries like never before. So now I'm torn between these two great decisions in life. Should I stay anchored here in lush green Luperon enjoying budget luxuries? Or should I sail back to the cool blue Bahamas for ocean to table living? Let's dive on in. Now, you have to understand that being captain of your own sailboat means you have unlimited options and unlimited possibilities for where you can sail to. That much freedom can be a bit overwhelming at times. Too many directions and no clear decision. So it's important to work through all of your options for the best choice. So to help me work through this major but very fun decision, I've broken everything down into a Luperon or Bahamas face-off. I'll go through each point and then say which one I think is the clear winner. And at the end, I'll total them up and either stay or go. But if you haven't yet, check out my 2024 goals video. That will better explain why I'm so excited to get to the Bahamas in the first place. Okay, let's get into it. Number 1 is about money. Now, first off, on the Luperon side, this is a great place to spend my money. It's going to go further here than it would anywhere else. I'm able to get a massage for an hour for $8.61. I can get a really nice meal for much less than $10 for just one person. On the other side, on the Bahamas side, well, there's no money to be spent because when I go there, I'm going to be completely off-grid. I'll be able to save a lot of money while I'm there. So it's either get use out of my money or keep saving my money. And for this one, I'm going to have to go for Luperon. I want to spend my money here. Point number 2 is hurricanes. Now, this is an El Nino year, so I do need to be a little bit careful. So starting us off on the Luperon side, this is a really safe, protected harbor here. It has really no record of any serious hurricane ever hitting. As well, when they do seem to hit, they always get downgraded to a tropical storm. But then on the Bahamas side, it's kind of fun and exciting to dodge tropical storms and even hurricanes. I've done several seasons in the Bahamas, and I gotta say, it's a bit of a game to me. And then the lulls in between, the spearfishing after, there's quite a bit that goes back and forth. But if I really had to pick one, I'm gonna go for Luperon on this one. I'd rather just be safe from the hurricanes. Point number 3 is the ease of sail. Now, I will be sailing north eventually, regardless if I do it now or later. So which one will be better for me? On the Luperon side of things, I can say that, I'll always have the trade winds. So even if I go later into the season, down towards October, I'm still gonna have that easterly wind to do a beam reach to go all the way up. But now on the Bahamas side of things, I can say that it's actually a lot nicer to be able to sail up as I go further into the Bahamas on these warm southerly winds, not getting caught later by these northerlies that'll come down in the wintertime. And for this one, I gotta give that point to the Bahamas. That type of sailing is much more preferable. Point number 4 is spearfishing, and I'll make the best case I can. Basically, I'll say this: I can spearfish here in the Dominican Republic. I can use my spear gun, and there is some to be had, but it's definitely going to be difficult. Versus in the Bahamas, this is a tough one, you guys. Yeah, the Bahamas is some of the best spearfishing in the world. Though you can only use a pole spear or Hawaiian sling, no triggered mechanism. I personally prefer to use a headhunter nomadic pole spear. They're just my favorite all around. I gotta give this one so much to the Bahamas. I'm actually gonna give this one, you guys might hate me for this, I'm gonna give this one 3 points because I just think the spearfishing in the Bahamas is so good in so many ways. It's just hard to beat. Point number 5 is shipping in supplies. Now, here in Luperon, I recently found out that I can actually order Amazon to Miami and then have it brought here anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks later. So that's been really cool. But if I do go to the Bahamas now, it means I'll get through it quicker and then I'll be in the US before I know it. And that'll really be an easy place for me to ship anything I want. If I had to go between the two of those, I'd say Amazon now versus Amazon later. It's another point for Luperon. The 6th point here is friends and collaborations. Now, I plan on inviting out a lot more friends and a lot more other YouTube channels to come collaborate with me. So here on the Luperon side, I could say, well, you know what, there's a lot more new friends to be made here in the harbor and local. As well, I can invite other sailors and other non-sailors, other collaborators to come here with me and do some joint filming together. But then on the Bahamas side, I could say, well, it is kind of the coolest place you could invite somebody to come to. It really is a dream destination. Honestly, going between those two, I love the community here so much, and I'm really keen to make some new friends, so it's another point for Luperon. Number 7 is an interesting one. Recently, this company called SMACO sent me a couple of these, and it's a refillable by like a bike pump scuba tank. It's a mini one, and it gives me about 10 minutes of breathing underwater. Now, this also can function as an emergency tank. It does a whole bunch of stuff, and it's gonna get its own dedicated video. But basically, what I wanna ask for this one is which is better. But for now, the comparison I wanna make is which one's better, Luperon or the Bahamas. Now, here in Luperon, there actually is some really cool places to go check out. I've already done some free diving, and although the SMACO really isn't meant to be used, normally below 10 feet, just for safety concerns, I believe, it's really good for cleaning the boat, for a whole bunch of things. But if I had to put it between the two, I'd say here in Luperon, there's not the best diving in the world. There is some, it is cool, and the water's warm, which is nice. But then if I look at the Bahamas, it's just the clearest water that's out there. There's so much to see, so much to do, and who knows what else I could get into now that I have some scuba on me. So you know what, for this one, clear point, gonna have to be the Bahamas. Number 8 is kiteboarding. Kiteboarding, kite surfing, huge fan of it, absolutely love it anywhere I go, whether I'm flying out or especially on the sailboat when I have my own gear. So which one will be better for me? I would say here in Luperon and around the area as well as Cabarete, I have really consistent trade winds and really good beaches I can actually go off of. I'm probably one of the only people that likes to kiteboard here in Luperon because it's a very dangerous beach for it, but I have an amazing time at it and it's pretty consistent. I could pretty much go every day. Now in the Bahamas, however, there's some really unique, really gorgeous areas that I can go to. Tons of expanses of pure sand. So if I have to look between the two of those, I'm actually gonna go with Luperon on this one because I like to be able to kite consistently and actually improve in my riding. Number 9 is going to be my workouts. I'm trying to stay in shape. Not only that, I'm trying to get into the best shape of my life. So I've got two options between me here. I've got staying here in Luperon where I can go to yoga, I can do workouts around the area here, I can go paddleboarding to the nearby beaches. As well, I get really good massages and rehabilitation from a chiropractor here. Or there is going to the Bahamas, sailing out there, being in isolation, doing my lifestyle that I love, but then getting onto these rugged sailboat workouts. I do want to develop that more, but I think for this one, it's a clear choice for me of Luperon, because never before have I been able to afford to be able to give myself such rehabilitation for the injuries that I already do have. So I'm really liking it here right now. Number 10 are unique adventures. Didn't really know how else to put this. But I would say here in the Dominican Republic and in Luperon, I've rented myself a really nice motorcycle, dirt bike really. I go off-road, I go on-road. Even yesterday I was on a several hour-long trip and had a ton of fun with it, so it's a really strong point. However, in the Bahamas, I can say there's some really unique opportunities for some island survival adventures, and I've really been wanting to dip my toes into that, focusing more on getting off the boat than staying on the boat. So judging between the two of those, I have to go with the motorcycle trip. It's not something that I've ever been able to do before, so I'm really enjoying this unique way to travel. Number 11 is going to be solitude and peace and quiet. So on the Luperon side of things, I would say, you know what, I can get out of the harbor pretty easily, whether it be with my sailboat, my paddleboard, a motorcycle ride, a hike, whatever. So I can go get that solitude, but there's also company here whenever I want it, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. But on the Bahamas side of things, that's true solitude out there, true isolation if you really want it, and there are cruisers out there as well. I gotta go with the Bahamas on this one. I feel like the Bahamas is just such a great place to be by yourself, to be out in nature, and really quiet everything down. Number 12 is gonna be hike or dive. Here in the Dominican Republic, they've got quite a bit of good hiking, including the only 10,000 foot high peak. It's in pretty much the center of the country, and it's one that I'm pretty curious to check out. So that's the one side for the Luperon. But on the Bahamas side, I would say there's some ledges that go down probably for 10,000 feet. Maybe not that far, but close to it. And there's a whole underwater world to be discovered there. So if I have to choose between some amazing hiking or some amazing freediving along a reef, it's gonna be a point for the Bahamas. That's unbeatable. Number 13 is gonna either be commitment and responsibility or freedom. Bit of an interesting one, but here's how it goes. Here in Luperon recently, I've been helping out at the Coconut Hound Haven, this dog sanctuary, dog rescue, and dog adoption place ran by some wonderful people, and a lot of wonderful dogs are there. I've really been enjoying helping out, and I've been thinking about getting a dog for a while. So that is the question. Should I foster and potentially adopt a dog here? Or on the Bahamas side of things, if I just leave now, I can maintain that ultimate freedom that I talk so much about, and to be honest, that I do really treasure. So which one of those two would I have to say? I'm gonna go with the Luperon one. Not necessarily adopting a dog just yet, but I think this is a perfect place for me to foster a dog, and even if I end up not adopting them, that's still time that they're gonna be having with the human, getting trained, getting house trained, just not being inside of a shelter, which even though it's a nice facility, it's still better for them to be here with a person, getting direct love, pets, and obviously all those walks. Number 14 is going to be repairs and refits. Here in Luperon, it's actually a pretty safe and pretty easy-ish place for me to be doing repairs. Now, there's nowhere on land for me to do any repairs, but the water here is nice and calm. Super rare that anybody puts a wake up here. Everybody's usually really respectful. On the Bahamas side of things, though, if I can just get through the Bahamas, I get back to the US. That puts me on a closer timeline for the US, 5 months closer. And once I'm there, I can really afford to order and work on anything at all. Between those two, I'd have to go with the US, with going for the Bahamas on this one. This will mean more time I get to use my boat, and then when I do go to the US, I can get things like Starlink, a new propeller, and actually several other, a new jib. There's actually quite a list I gotta get on. Number 15 is gonna be language. Now, here in the DR, Luperon especially, I'm learning Spanish as best I can. Yo hablo muy poquito español. That's pretty much what I say every day. I only speak a little bit of Spanish. But then on the Bahamas side, if I leave for that, well, I don't have to learn another language. I can just keep on speaking English, which English has gotten me around the world pretty good. So if I had to look between the two of those, I don't really want to learn Spanish just yet. I know you guys might criticize me for it, but it's kind of nice to be able to just go to a country and speak English. So I say that's a point for the Bahamas. And the last one, number 16, is going to be Solarpunk Sailboat. I'm going to give this a full dedicated video later, but this is one of my future goals and dreams that I'm working towards. This idea of a sailboat that just does and provides everything you could need it, from food and lifestyle and everything. It's still a very much so an abstract concept of what I want to do, but it derives from the Solarpunk genre, you could say. I'll try to put a few photos up so you guys can see what that looks like a little bit. But I would say here on the Luperon side, you know, I could be working on some of the ideas while I'm here. Or if I go to the Bahamas, I have a chance to implement some of the ideas that I've already done and exercise them more, maybe get more ideas. Between the two of those, the Bahamas really feels like the stronger option in that. I mean, that gets me much closer on point to what I want to be doing. All right, time for the final score. Now, do remember, I think spearfishing got 3 points because it's so good and it's so much of what I live for in the Bahamas. So, looking at the final score, we got Luperon that got 9 points, and we got the Bahamas for 10 points. Going back to the Bahamas will mean I stay on my 2024 goals. That means I'll be on track to go to the US, then maybe to Cuba, then off to Central America, and then to Texas, and then to Seattle, and so on and so forth. And I'm really excited for that. But I got to thinking about a 17th point, if you will, and that's, who cares about a timeline? I am the captain of my own boat. I am the master of my soul. I get to do and go where I want to because I live on a sailboat. And that is really the purpose of Adventure Born. It's not to sail more, and it's not to sail back to places I've already been, but it's to bring me to places that have more adventures, and especially more unique adventures. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, you know, thinking about the motorcycle adventures I'm going to be doing, more difficult spearfishing, learning a new language, even potentially adopting a dog, like, all those are really interesting new adventures. Now, I have no doubt there's going to be hardships, and I'm probably going to fail in a lot of ways. I'm certainly going to fail with Spanish, and a dog is going to be so many challenges for me, but it just got me thinking more and more, and I think that deserves several points. I'm going to give that 5 points, let's say. So, in the end, you guys, I think Luperon is the place for me. I think that it being an El Nino year and having hurricanes coming, big hurricanes coming, is a bit more to worry about. I am excited to go back to the Bahamas, and I don't plan on not going back, but I do just plan on delaying for a bit. It's good for me to be a part of a community for a little while. It's good for me to take on some responsibility. I love that I can kiteboard more regularly here. I'm also working on ukulele and a bunch of other things that other sailors can help me with, so I think that's a big reason why. And this whole video, I hope you guys have enjoyed, because I've really enjoyed, as I was writing this out for myself a couple weeks ago, which one do I want to do, because I was really split and torn on it. But the more I look at everything here, the more I see that Luperon in the Dominican Republic has more unique and interesting and new adventures for me than going back to the Bahamas would. I can't wait to get there, but for now, I'm staying around Luperon. Hey, thanks so much for making it to the end of the video, you guys. So now I want to ask you guys, what did you think after each point that I was putting up here? Did you agree with my decisions on them? Or would you have gone a different route? Are there some other points for staying or leaving that you could think of? And most importantly, would you stay here in Luperon, Dominican Republic, or would you go to the Bahamas? Let me know in the comments below. I absolutely love reading the comments you guys send me. I read every single one. And it's great to be able to connect with you guys this way on topics that I'm really passionate about. Oh, and one more thing. If you guys have any ideas for other adventures or places I should go within the Dominican Republic, shoot me another comment, shoot me a direct message, throw me an email, whatever you guys got. I'd love to hear from you. So again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Cheers. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. I hope you feel inspired to begin adventures of your own. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. For an exclusive, in-depth look at this adventure lifestyle and to further support my channel, become a member of my Patreon crew. Link in the description. I'll see you on the next adventure.